You, hey, please give a round of applause to Joe Kennedy and his wife Lauren for coming down. Dropkick Murphys has got behind 3 political candidates in our lives, and we've known and respected them all. So we don't do this often. So when we do, it's a special occasion, and we just thought it would be nice to kind of be able to show our fans that let them get to know Joe a little, show them all the great support they have from labor in the city of Boston, and play a few songs because we're out of work. So anytime someone asks us to play a few songs, we're like, yeah. Shout out to Stephen Lynch in the back. We can't be in South Boston and not give the props to Stevie. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for being here, and we got a speaker out here for you. Hopefully it doesn't rain. I want to thank the Teamsters for bringing the truck all the way in here that the camera can't see. But anyhow, all right. So without further ado, we'll go in and start this process. All right, you guys enjoy yourself out here. All right. For everyone tuning in that doesn't know, there's a wall here they can't see, so come on in, Joe, step up to the mic. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I know that there's a lot of Joe's people in there watching, and I know that Dropkicks have reshared it on ours, and you know, we run the gamut. We started out in 1996, and our politics have always been very democratic and very left center, and you know, we're happy to get behind certain candidates that we know and respect. Mostly how they conduct themselves in their heart, not so much you know, politics in general. We very rarely really step out like this. So a lot of respect to Joe, a lot of respect to his family. We're going to play 4 songs. Joe's going to say a few words. We're going to talk to Joe a little in the middle, and hopefully we'll all end at the same time. Sound good?
Sounds good to
Joe,
me.
You want to say hello before we start?
I just want to say hi to everybody out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. To Ken and the Dropkicks, thank you so much for this. This is really exciting night for us. And it's a big day, obviously, across our Commonwealth. For those of you that have been following it, it is the first day of early vote. So the election coming up, a primary election in Massachusetts on September 1st, but today is the voter registration deadline. You can still vote by mail. It's the market at the beginning of early vote, and then obviously you can vote on September 1st. So part of the goal on this is to try to make sure that people know the deadlines that are coming up, and ask for everybody to participate. So, Ken, thank you guys for having us. And
no problem. Have a seat, otherwise you're going to have to sing a song, all right? He says you can't carry a note. Hey, also want to start out by saying much respect to Ed Markey. We just feel like we need some youth right now. There's been some missed votes, and we like Joe's enthusiasm. I think their policies are very similar, and tip of the cap to Ed Markey and all he's done, but we think it's time for some young blood. So, without further ado, the worker song. Yeah, this one's for the worker who toils night and day, by hand and by brain, to earn your pay, who for centuries long past, for no more than your bread, have bled for your country and counted your dead. In the factories and mills, in the shipyards and mines, we've often been told to keep up with the times, for our skills are never wrong. We're the first ones to start, we're the first ones to die, we're the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always the last when the thing I shed out for the worker is working, when the fat hats the ball, and when the sky darkens and the prospect is war. Who's given a gun and then pushed to the floor and expected to die for the land of our birth, though we never owned one lousy handful of earth. We're the first ones to start, we're the first ones to starve, we're the first ones to die. We're the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always the last when the crane is shed out. For the worker is working when the fat cat's about. We're the first ones to starve, we're the first ones to die. We're the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always the last when the crane is shed out. For the worker is working when the fat cat's about. And all of these things the worker has done, from tilling the fields to carrying the gun, with a yoke to the plow, since time first began, and always expected to carry the can. Let's hear some applause out there in the driveway. Bring it louder. Well, we are 50% of the Dropkick Murphys. The others are up camping or somewhere. We don't know. It's hard. You know, we don't have much work these days, so there's a few of us around to play a few songs here and there. But like I said, thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to talk to Joe after this next song, but kind of preface one of the discussions is Dropkick Murphys. As I said, we've always been a political band. We've always been a very left-leaning band. If you're out there and you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you. It's pretty, we've made it pretty obvious. However, we've had tremendous support from the military, police, and we've always showed it back. And we want to tip our cap to all you folks. And talking about the hot button issue of what's going on with the police is that we have a lot of good friends in the police force. And as my grandmother used to say, it only takes one bad apple. And sometimes in every crowd there's a bad apple. And I think that there's a lot of people. I think we need reform. I think we need some people to come in that have another skill set to deal with addicts and mental illness on the streets. But I do think the police are doing a great job. That's our opinion. And we want to say that we recognize your great work, and we also recognize that there's some people calling for change. So let's what we need more in this world is an open mind. Let's listen to both sides, okay? We meet in the middle. That's usually how it works. Hey, I hear some applause out there. That was louder than the applause for the song. Anyhow, this next song we've played at countless funerals for police officers and military fans of the band, because we show up. That's what we do when we're asked. And without further ado, I keep saying without further ado. I got pointed out at that Fenway stream. I said that. That's like some vaudeville shit or something. I got to stop that. Anyhow, the fields of Athenry. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl calling. Michael, they have taken you away, for you stole Tobian's corn, so the young might see the morn. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay. Oh, lie the fields of Athenry, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the way, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young man calling. Nothing matters, Mary, when you're free. Against the famine
must raise our children with dignity. Low lie the field of Apple Rye, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of Apple Rye. Lonely Harbour Wall, she watched the last of falling as the prison ship sailed out against the sky. Sure, she'll wait and hope and pray for a love in Botany Bay. It's so lonely round the fields of Apple Rye. One more time! Low lie the fields of Apple Rye, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of Apple Rye. It's so lonely round the fields of Apple Rye.
It was nice. All right. We're halfway through. Joe, you want to come up and say a few words if you wouldn't mind? All right. I told Joe I was going to start with some hard-hitting questions from the audience, you know, because we're not all fluff around here. But talked about it a little bit. I think personally some of your views on the subject with current police reform have been a little misconstrued as they have been for a lot of people in politics that I'm a supporter of, and thought I'd give you a second to talk on the subject.
Yeah, so first off, thank you guys. That was awesome. Truly awesome. And Ken, thank you. Look, I think as you said, there's a need for reform in this country. But I come at this actually as a former prosecutor. And from the time that I spent in the district attorney's office, a couple district attorney's offices around here, Ken, down in Barnstable County and then Middlesex County, the busiest county, biggest county in Massachusetts, where every single day you saw the consequence of addiction and mental illness. Every day. I think folks are probably surprised to learn that the two largest providers of mental health care in our country are the jails in LA and Chicago. And when you talk to the sheriffs, those are the folks that in Massachusetts, they run our jails, they'll tell you that on any given night, between 80 and 90% of the incarcerated individuals are suffering from mental illness or substance use disorder or both. And I gotta tell you, from like literally every day in a courtroom, where you'd see at that point, this was now 10 years ago, see kids that were breaking into 10 to 12, 15 cars in a night, 4 or 5 homes over the course of a weekend, all to try to get enough money to satiate a pill habit, opioid habit, for a couple days before they had to go back and do it again. And they'd get arrested, they'd come in and they'd be charged with 10, 12, 15 felonies. But the reason why they're arrested, the reason why they're charged with a crime is because they're sick. And they're not getting access to the treatment that we need. And so it was one of the reasons why I ran for office in the first place, was the lack of acknowledgement, investment, and reform for mental behavioral health care. Because if you took that, and that was coming from my experience as a prosecutor and from my conversations with a lot of police officers, saying, look, you're arresting folks that are sick. We saw it when I was in the Cambridge District Court in Central Square, folks that were homeless that would get arrested for trespassing at the local Mickey D's or a restaurant there, that were asking folks for money or for food. And they'd be trespassed from the restaurant. The managers there would call the cops. Police would arrest the person. They'd come back in. They get arraigned in the Cambridge District Court. And the penalty for trespassing is a $100 fine. You'd turn around and go, what am I going to do? Find the homeless person? The case would get either adjudicated or whatnot, and person would go right back out there to the same park bench, the same place, with another entry on the criminal record and no help and no reform. And so I take that to say, look, I think there is a serious need for reform in this country, and I think we need to take much more investment and actually put into things like mental behavioral illness, early intervention, holding insurance companies accountable so that we actually flush out that continuum of care and actually invest in people so they don't end up with serious mental illness on our streets and homes. And you do that, you're going to get an awful lot of reform in this country, rather than asking police and first responders. I was with a bunch of EMTs the other night, at midnight, and having dinner at a diner in Worcester, who said, we're the ones that got to go out and try to fix this challenge when there's an underinvestment in mental illness. Like, we end up being the folks that get called out to deal with it, rather than actually investing in something upstream so that you don't have to deal with a crisis situation downstream. And that's where I think we need to start.
Not too bad, Joe. You didn't go on for like 20 minutes like a lot of politicians. I think you got your point across, and I think that, you know, mental illness and addiction has been rampant in this band and our families, and you know, I think that if we stop treating addiction like a crime, and on the police's defense, you know, they may not have been trained to deal with the plague that they're facing in the opioid addiction and everything that's going on. So I think, to me, when I hear defund the police, I think it's allocate some funds to get them some help, as opposed to, and that's how I take it. I know that this is you know, we could talk all night on this subject. I think that another thing I think is when people say, you know, de-escalation, I think de-escalation is a huge thing. You also, a lot of it comes back to gun control, though, because you can't say, well, look at the police in Ireland or England, they just have a billy club and they de-escalate. It's like they also are dealing with people who have larger weapons than them a lot of times. So I think a lot of it comes back to gun control. There's probably some Dropkick Murphys gun nuts that are freaking out right now, so stuff it anyway. But you know, anyway, it's a much longer conversation, and I think that there's a lot of work to do, and I think that your heart's in the right place on the subject. I'm going to hit you with another hard-hitting question right now. I have my personal beliefs in this, and your family's legacy, and how they've helped the poor and the middle class and stood up for the less than. But you know, I've seen some people say, well, how does someone who comes from, at this point, a well-off family know how to represent the middle class and the poor? And like I said, I think that your legacy and your family's legacy is well established in that regard, but I thought I'd let you answer that question.
Thanks, I appreciate it, Ken. Look, I'm proud of the way my family has made that commitment to folks that are often overseen, overlooked, and the way that others in my family, my grandfather, I think in particular, tried to use the power and the platform that he had as an attorney general, as a U.S. senator, as a candidate for the presidency, to actually highlight the inequities and the ways in which our society has failed so many. The images that I remember of him and that I recall of him, it's him kneeling next to a little boy, black boy in the Mississippi Delta. It's with an orphan Sioux boy in a reservation in the Dakotas, with his hand on the shoulder of a coal miner in Appalachia. It's breaking the fast with Cesar Chavez in the farm. And I think, look, I come from a family of incredible privilege, and there's no denying that. I think the question is, over time, how do you use that privilege? How do you use that station? And do you use it to try to empower those who have been structurally and intentionally cut out? Do you use it to shine a spotlight for them, not to speak for them, but to give them a platform where they can speak for themselves and call attention to those issues and fight with all you got to actually address the structural inequities that exploit and take advantage of so many still? And look, it's what your lyrics, these last two songs, that's what that's about. It's about inequities here that for far too long have come down on the backs of the poor, the working class, the aspiring middle class, that make it next to impossible to survive. That's what I've tried to do in Congress. That's what I hope to do in the Senate. And I think that's what my family's done.
Well, I think this is a show of support outside. Let's hear outside, fellas and ladies and children. I think this show of support from where we first met, and that the band has had the privilege of receiving the Robert Kennedy Action Corps Award for some of the service we've done, and I tell you, we've got a lot of, you know, little stupid things like the Boston, not to say the Boston Music Awards are stupid, but things about music. But to get that award was like, you know, that's important. That's the real stuff, because that's about like that's about life. You know what I mean? Not about music, because anyone can play music. And so anyway, we just wanted to thank you know, your family for the legacy you've created, and especially your grandfather.
Oh, real quick on that one. Not anyone can play music. I'm the living proof of that. First. Second, that award acknowledges people that do the work. That award, most of you won't know about this award. It's not a big splashy award. It acknowledges literally the social workers, the caseworkers, the people that toil day and night behind closed doors without recognition for literally the most vulnerable among us. And you guys have done an awful lot with the attention and notoriety and fame and spotlight that comes with your success. You chose to help fight for them, so thank you.
It's our pleasure and our privilege, so thank you. All right,
Enough
so,
about me.
yeah, you better sit down or you're gonna have to sing. So, all right, we're gonna end with the hits. As far as Johnny, as far as they say, as far as YouTube, these are the two hits. I don't know, we don't have hits, but John, round of applause for John Mark Antonio over there making the sound. And our man Grizz behind the wall. Dropkick Murphys crew have always, they pick up the phone, they're here. We're always coming up with cockamamie reasons they gotta get up and work when they weren't supposed to work. So God bless you guys. All right, song's called Rose Tattoo. Goes out to the Fenley brothers out there. Tell the story. This life had many shades. I'd wake up every morning and for her and then be on my way. I traveled far and wide, laid this head in many ports. I was guided by a compass. I saw beauty to the north. I drew the tales of many eyes, the wore the faces of my own. I had these memories all around me, so I wouldn't be alone. Some may be from showing up, others are from growing up. Sometimes I was so messed up and didn't have a clue. I ain't winning, no, I know where I wear it just for you. I got your name written here in a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo. I got your name written here in a rose tattoo. This one's for the mighty sea, mischief, golden piracy. This one's for the man that raised me, taught me sacrifice and bravery. This one's for our favorite game, black and gold, we wave the flag. This one's for my family name, with pride I'll wear it to the grave. Some may be from showing up, others are from growing up. Sometimes I was so messed up and didn't have a clue. I ain't winning, no, I'm over. I'll wear it just for you. I got your name written here in a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo. I got your name written here in a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo, in a rose tattoo. I got your name written here in a rose tattoo. This one means the most to me, it stays there for eternity. A ship that always stayed the course, an anchor for my every choice. A rose that shines down from above. I signed and sealed these words in blood. I heard them once sung in a song. We played again and we sang along. You'll always be here with me, even when you're gone. You'll always have my love. How can we live on? Some may be from showing up, others are from growing up. Sometimes I was so messed up and didn't have a clue. I ain't winning, no, I'm picture that ending. It says, it was good. Oh, love it. Hey, whatever. It's free. You paying for this? No, you're not. Anyway. Love you. You know, just want to talk really quick. You know, Joe, come up and let's talk one more, and then we'll end with a song. You know what I mean? Because no one wants to end with the blowhard. They want to end with music. I'm kidding.
That's true.
I'm kidding. But, you know,
that's true.
while we're here, we're talking. We talked about some tough stuff, and we want to talk about what hopefully will be some more positive stuff. And that's how 25, IBEW Local 2222, N103. You got the Iron Workers Local 107. You got IATSE 11. You got Pipe Fitters 537. But that's an impressive list of endorsements you have, and you know, I'd love to hear what you have to say about your relationship to labor, and also your plan for helping Massachusetts come out of this crazy situation we're in right now.
So, Ken, it's a great list, and from the supporters out there, so grateful for their help and support every single step of the way in this race. I've been incredibly honored to be endorsed by over 60 different labor unions across Massachusetts. 60. And I think with that, absolutely up back, thank you.
I gotta interrupt, I forgot Labor's 223 and my old local 1421, so give a shout out for that boys!
But look, I think what this comes down to is just a couple of quick stats here for you, right, that you will know. We have now Boston is now the third most gentrified city in the country. We have the worst commute in the nation, because the folks that actually power the city can't afford to live here anymore. We've seen since COVID took hold in Massachusetts, small business revenue has dropped by 42%, and that creates most of the jobs. But that revenue's dropped by 40%. Amazon stock price has gone up by 60%. We've seen record profits for Walmart and Home Depot. Main Street's been devastated. And so what we have to do is kind of fight two different battles here. One, as you guys talked about earlier, there's an erosion over the course of literally the past 50 years of the economic power of the worker, and a lot of that is linked to the erosion of union labor, and trying to make sure that not only do unions fight for their own members, they actually create that floor for all workers across the country. And so fight strong for those labor unions, fight for their ability to collectively bargain, fight for the workers that they represent every day and their families. It means trying to tackle the structural erosion of the ability of a middle-class job to provide a middle-class life. My wife's here, Lauren, she's been one of the leaders in the state on addressing the cost of childcare. The cost of raising a child in Massachusetts, it costs more to raise a baby every year from birth to 5 than it does to send your kid to college. People wrestle with how you pay your rent, your mortgage, or how do you assemble the money for a mortgage payment for a house. That's literally your childcare. And it goes right out the door. Why? Because you got to care for your kid, particularly if you need to work to pay rent. And so it's tackling these structures, the big ones that have put us into this economic erosion, and the ones certainly after COVID-19 to be able to make sure that businesses get the support that they need, that families get the support that they need, and we can actually get people back to work. And I won't bore you tonight with it, but a bunch of different jobs and proposals and a big major federal public hiring program to actually get people employed back to work, support small businesses, scale up testing and contact tracing so we can actually get people back to work and get to school far more quickly, and actually make sure that folks can put food on their plate and a roof over their head and clothes on their kids' back, because that's the whole point of this thing anyway. And we'll fight for them every single day to do so.
All right.
And I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. We believe you. And if you don't, we'll come find you. All right. We got one song left. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for keeping an open mind and an open ear. Hey!
Great job.
Thank you.
Oh my God,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.